Hello everybody, this video is going to be kind of strange because I am very near due to get a haircut, and by that I mean give myself one because quarantine and there's no haircuts. But thankfully there is a hardwood supplier. I had a little bit of luck, and I know this is something that I've been concerned about. Now this isn't everything, not even by a long shot, but this is some initial purchases to prep myself based off of the responses on the Kickstarter survey so far, which, by the way, if you haven't answered your backer kit survey or if you've lost the email, go to a link that's down in the description of this video on YouTube or underneath it in the Kickstarter update that you're probably seeing it on to link to the survey. Also, if you missed the survey, you're going to be able to get whatever you need through the pre-order store, which is open now, so go check it out. There's a lot of stuff there, and you can get the vaults at Kickstarter pricing, just not the dice sets, and the personal engraving isn't free because that's special for backers. So let's talk a little bit about all of the woods that we've purchased and also how we're going to work with them, because the work holding solution does not end with a threaded table. Instead, you're going to need clamps to be able to hold everything in place, and leveraging those screw holes at exact 50mm increments, we can make something that's extremely predictable, extremely useful, and extremely cheap very quickly, and do it in a way that if they get damaged, we don't really lose anything. So let's talk about some custom cam clamps and L brackets for repeatable batch processing in this video. Now the goal with this is to have cam clamps that can securely hold workpieces in place, which can be easily rotated out to minimize the downtime in between carving, and which are pretty much disposable. I've used these Rockler lever action clamps before, but they're $50 a pop. And if a CNC happens to go slightly off track, I don't want to lose that money, and I also don't want the CNC milling into aluminum and plastic unexpectedly. Plywood, it can carve right through. Now I don't have as much on the cam design for this one because I was using some examples which were made from other creators, and I will link to some of their videos down in the description. The important part here is twofold. I have L brackets, which are bolted on multiple axes to prevent them from slipping around, which are used as the primary reinforcement against for doing the work holding, and then cam clamps, which work by maintaining constant pressure around a singular axis with an increasing radial spiral to pressurize the work into the L bracket where it's being held in place. Adding some sacrificial pieces of plywood in between the cam clamp and the workpiece distributes the load evenly, so it's not only on one point, and it also doesn't mar up or otherwise disfigure the edges of what I'm working with. And being able to pop these in and out very quickly allows me to reduce the downtime in between making something like the dual vaults in under 30 seconds. And then I just hit play again and my Shapeoko remembers the home position and is good to go. Carving these out of a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood was relatively straightforward. I did only really have one hang up. Well, two, but we'll talk about the second a little bit later in the video. When carving the L brackets in something softer like plywood and going with the grain, I did have a moment where the plywood splintered, catching the bit in place and preventing it from moving on the X-axis, but it was still plunging and the bit just started spinning from the friction and becoming loose in the collet. And my wasteboard took its first major injury. I still haven't surfaced the thing, so it's okay, but at the same time, now there's an extra hole where I didn't intend one to be, but it's not going to be pristine for long, and that's why we made this wasteboard, to take the hits so the main body of this Shapeoko doesn't have to. I fixed this by rotating the L brackets, which are the long singular tracks along the grain, on a 45-degree angle, so they wouldn't be on the grain for any aspect of their carving. It now cuts across. Doing this meant I had a ton more splintering on all of these, and they required a little bit more sanding to clean up, but at the same time, they don't cause the whole thing to fail and the whole job to fail. And I had a very aggressive cut plan, cutting out as many pieces as I could out of this piece of plywood. And that led to my second problem. Okay, so small problem, but a recoverable one. Everything actually went probably as best as it could have gone.
Actually, let me turn the camera around for this. So most of my clamps carved exactly as I was hoping. The corner pieces, the 3 L brackets, the 2 larger, and then I got 6 of my 8 smaller. I had 1 here, and 1 here, and you can tell something went wrong. I was actually apparently far too aggressive with how close the parts were. So these are fine. This, you can see a little bit of the wiggle. One of the tabs was cut at the last possible moment. You can see it in there. Here, though, this array is where I got overly aggressive. This one is entirely free floating. And then, which means, so are these two. This one's actually good. And this is because my bed is not 100% machine level. I haven't machine leveled the wasteboard. I'll have to now, because now I have little grooves in my wasteboard. Oh, you're so young. You're already accumulating scars. But because of that, I carved through what I thought were tabs. What I thought was tabs actually got carved through. In some cases no, in some cases yes, which led to this piece breaking free. Now, this is why you machine while focusing on the machine, and you don't leave it completely unattended until you know for sure that you're fine, especially on operations that cut all the way through. So I hit my emergency switch right here and just shut off the whole machine, lifted the bits, turned this off as well. It's actually not that bad. Recoverable because I have most of everything with me, which is good. Now I can, wow, my machine was really not level. So all I have to do is tab off a couple of these things. Oh my God, clean this up. And then I'm fine. Then it's fine.
But with that all out of the way, it was easy enough of cleaning out the cam clamps, sanding them to get rid of any burrs, and then I'm into work. And just look how fast it is to be able to replace and repeat work. I'm going to show this in real time. No speed up, no trickery. This is just a single shot. Working with these is going to make working on the Shapeoko and doing batch processing for large scale orders like the dual vaults a lot easier. Now I have a more intensive video on the dual vault processing and making those, the blanks and everything else. This is just a quick little project in the second part of the work holding journey. I've had some people talk about making vacuum tables or other more complex work holding solutions, and we'll get into that when the time is available. But for now, simple is sometimes the best. Alright, that's pretty much it for this video. Quicker one, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. I will have links to some of the videos that I base my designs off of, as well as a link to my cam clamp file for carbide motion that you could download and make your own. Until next time, go out there, be good to each other, and I will see you next time.